Hello guys, Tomione here from Coding for Youth, and welcome to the sixth part of the Python series. Uh, this channel is actually made to encourage you out there, a youth, a desired programmer to code every day. So I want to encourage you to write a bit of code every day, learn new things, and utilize all the online resources that are out there to get knowledge and get better. So today we're going to be talking about a very important concept called object data types. But before we start, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and leave your comment in the comment section. I'll be looking at some other things, building HTML templates from scratch, and then we'll look at the WordPress ecosystem and maybe that I will do that. Then we'll continue with this, but that will be in another video that will be coming very soon. So today let's talk about data types. But before we do that, I'd like to take a little look again back at values. So we said values, or a value is one of the basic things a program works with. We assign values to variables, right? And then we manipulate the values, you know, to achieve what we want to achieve. It could be a string, it could be a data we collect from somewhere or anything like that. So these values are the thing that the computer manipulates, and then we are able to compare and get a particular come to a particular conclusion. So values like numbers or some values we have seen so far. For instance, we have 2, let's say 42.0, and then we have the yellow word in our quotation mark. These values belong to different types. 2 is an integer, like we have said, and 42.0 is a floating point number, and then the yellow word in the quotes is a string, a so-called string, because the letters are actually strung together. Okay, so if you are not sure of what type of value you have, the interpreter can tell you. So we're going to hop into our more editor, and then we look at that. So let's use our more editor and now check the types of value, a particular types that a value belongs to. So we can actually check that. I think we have done that before, but I'll just I'd like to show you again, so you can check the type of value, uh, the type your value belong to. So if, for instance, we come here and then uh, we say print, and then we type. Type is used to check the type that the objects or value belong to. Okay, so if we control S to save this and then run this, and we see class int. Okay, class int. In this result, the word class is used in the sense of a category. It belongs to a particular category. A type is a category of values. Okay, so uh, int is telling you that this is an integer. Okay, you can equally check other ones like that we mentioned. We can check print, and then we say type 42.0. We also check print, and then we say type. Let's look at the string we mentioned. So let's say hello world. Okay, if you save this and then let's run it again, you see we have class floats. Okay, because of the decimal point here is a floating point number, and then class str, which stands for string. Okay, now not surprisingly, integers belong to the type int, strings belong to str, the string, and floating point number belongs to floats. What about values like let's look at values like let's say print, and then we say type integer now in quotes. We are putting integer in the quotes, in quotation mark, and also we're going to do another one. Say print, and we put our floating point number. Let's say type our floating point 2.42.0 also in a quote. Okay, in a case like this, they look like numbers, but they are in quotation marks. So what do you think the result will be? Now let's run it and see what the result is. You can see that these two are actually strings, though they look like numbers. Okay, they are strings. When you type a large number, you might be tempted to use comma between groups of digits. For instance, if you come here and you say you want to, let's say want to print 1 million, that's 6 zeros, right? Then you might be tempted to put comma in between the numbers like this. This will give you an error. No, this will actually change to a tuple in Python. So if you save this and print, the result will surprise you, So this is actually a tuple. Okay, that's comma is being removed. That's not what we expected, right? Python interprets this as comma separated sequence of integers. So we're going to learn more about that by the time we hop into our start talking about the data type. So like I said, there are built-in data types, and in programming, data types data type is an important concept. So variables can store data of any of different types, and different types can do different things, right? So Python has a let me just list all the built-in data types in Python. So we have if it is a text in quotation mark, let's say text in quotation mark like this, or text type, then we'll talk about this is string, right? If it is a numeric types, okay, we said numeric types will fall under 3 categories. It could be an int, it could be a floating point number, it could be a complex number, okay, complex like that. If it is sequence of numbers or sequence type, if it is sequence like this, so call it sequence types, then this could be list or a tuple or range. So these are the types in Python, data types in Python. What about if it is something like a mapping type? Then this is either, if it is a mapping, then it is a dictionary, dict, okay? What if it is a set-like type? Okay, if it is set-like type, it could either be a set or a frozen set. Okay, what if it is something like a Boolean, a yes or no Boolean type? If it is something like a Boolean type, then this must be a bool. Okay, what if it is a binary type? Then a binary type is either a byte, okay, or a byte array, or a memory view. Okay, so memory view. What if it is known type, like known type? then it is a known type. Okay, so these are the different data types in Python. Okay, so we have discussed how you can get a type, you know, uh, of an object by using the keyword or the function type. Okay, now what about when you want to set a type? In Python, the data type is set when you assign a value to a variable. So you don't need to do implicit declaration in Python. Okay, in some programming, you can do in programming languages, you can do implicit declaration. You say this is a string, you want to declare it to be a string, like TypeScript. Okay, um, so I will just show you some few examples of the data types we have listed here. Show a few examples of these data types that we have listed here. Uh, I'll just put this in the comments. To do a multi-line comment, you can use triple quotes like this. Okay. Now, let's look at examples of these data types. Okay. We have checked the one for tuple, we have checked for string, for integer, and for float. So we're going to check them again. So we'll say, let's print this, and then we check the types. The type, if it is a string, we'll say, let's say hello world, hello world. Of course, this will give us type script string, right? We have checked that before. Let me just copy this and paste, and then check the type for 2, and then we also check the type for 2.0, 2 points, and let's say 20.5. We also check the type for 1J complex, something like that. And then we also check the type for we'll also check the type for, I'm going to do something like a list. So the list, I will have, in a list, I will have something like apple, banana, okay, and then let's say cherry. You can use double quotes or single quotes, okay. Then for all the data types I listed up there, so you see we have first one, hello world, is string. The second one is an int, which is 2. The third one is a float, which is 20.5. And then we see complex, which is 1J. And then we see lists, which is what we have here now. So let's look at tuple. Tuple is going to be like, it's similar to lists, but in a parenthesis instead of a square bracket. So if we copy everything we have here, paste inside here now, but instead of square bracket we have parenthesis. If you run this again, you have a tuple. Okay, what about example of a set or a range? So a range is, you actually declare it to be a range. So we have something like this. I will say range 6. This is type range. What about the sets? Let's say we have a set is curly bracket is used for a set. Okay, so we can say a set is more like an object in JavaScript. So we can say let's use name. Okay, say want the name to be, let's say, Tom, and then say age, and say 35. Okay, now this is data type set. Interest. What about dictionary? This is also a dictionary, right? This is a dictionary, rather. This is a dictionary. Sets, on the contrary, is like this, the same curly brackets, but we have something like this. This is a set. Let's say we have apple, and then we have, you can see that in the difference between dictionary, you have pairs in dictionary where you have the property and the value, but in sets, you just have comma separated, either strings, but all in a curly bracket. Okay, so you have, let's say you have banana, let me just add cherry here. Okay, so now let's run this again. Print syntax. Okay, where's that error? Okay, just trying to check where the error is coming from. This. Okay, now our range. All right. So you see, we have the first one to be string, we have the second one to be int, and the floats, the complex. We have list, we have tuple, we have range, we have dict, and then we have sets. Okay, so these are examples of data type. Okay, now you can actually set it explicitly, you can actually specify the data type implicitly, like when you're doing your calculation, you can decide, okay, like the example we did before, we were collecting data from the prompts, the command line, input from the prompt. Of course, you want to convert the inputs to int or integer, so you can actually add them, because you can't do mathematical operation on strings. So you want to make sure that you're actually dealing with numbers. Okay, so we'll be looking at that in the next, our next class, how to manipulate operate on our data type. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.